y'all, welcome back to a brand new video here on the second channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at some early Rapid Strike decks. Now, Rapid Strike is definitely back in a pretty big way, in my opinion, with the post-rotation, mainly because Rapid Strike does get a lot stronger with Inteleon VMAX being pretty good, and also Rapid Strike Urshifu having a pretty good type advantage against the new Miraidon EX, which is proving to be one of the new top decks in the rotation. If y'all want to go on to enjoy the video and show your support on the channel, leave a like on the video and sub if you haven't subbed here to the second channel yet, and it'd be also appreciated. But yeah, I've already done a video on this series looking at Arceus decks and Lugia V-Star decks early, but now we're going to be looking at Rapid Strike, because I think Rapid Strike is back in a pretty big way with rotation, and I am very excited to take a look at Rapid Strike lists early and see what people have cooked up. So we'll start things off here with the Rapid Strike decks. Now, the first one here we have is a Lost Box Rapid Strike. Wasn't expecting that to be the first deck we take a look at today. We do have a Lost Box Rapid Strike Urshifu deck. The advantage of this deck is having access to Sableye to remove Manaphy, so you can use G-Max Rapid Flow. Hawlucha is kind of cool with Urshifu too. Not sold on the Rapid Strike engine with Lost Box. I don't know if Urshifu Rapid Strike is that great, but it did get top 16 in a 64-player tournament, apparently. But the main deck I want to look at here is the Inteleon Rapid Strike deck. Inteleon VMAX is a super powerful card in the new format because of Scoop Up Net rotating. Scoop Up Net rotating makes Inteleon VMAX so strong and actually really deadly when playing against Lost Box. In fact, I think Inteleon VMAX has arguably the best Lost Box matchup out of any deck in the rotation. Like, even a deck using like Heavy Judge plus Path, I think Inteleon still has a better matchup against those decks because of how good its ability is. With Inteleon's ability, you can put 2 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, but you have to discard a water energy from your hand. So basically, you can see these lists here playing 8 water energy. I should actually, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. But yeah, 8 water energy in the Inteleon list. The reason behind this is you want to make sure you always have energy in your hand to discard with Inteleon's ability. So your opponent benches cards like Comfey. You're probably going to want to put Urshifu into play in the Rapid Strike matchup because Inteleon is weak to Lightning, and Raikou V is very popular right now in Lost Box. So you'll try to kind of play aggressive with Urshifu, and you're going to have the Inteleon knocking out Manaphy pretty easily with Radiant Alakazam and Medicham's Yoga Loop. Medicham does, of course, have Yoga Loop, where you can put 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, and if something gets KO'd by the attack, you get an extra turn. So you can have some just insane plays with Medicham. Alakazam is really good, too, in this deck. Actually, I think it's what makes Inteleon kind of scary, is instead of just having to constantly spam the ability, you can actually take a knockout even quicker with Alakazam, where you can move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one. So basically, it turns one of the Inteleon's attacks from 2 Pokemon for 20. You can turn that into 1 Pokemon for 40, which is really, really cool. That is the benefit of Alakazam. It lets you set up pretty crazy plays with Yoga Loop. It's just a very, very good card in the Inteleon deck. One thing I like about Alakazam, too, it's a pretty good like escape rope target for Cramorant. Just wanted to point that out. But yeah, Alakazam is really good in Inteleon. Inteleon is kind of what puts the Rapid Strike deck kind of back on the map, is you're able to feed Comfey. Scoop Up Net rotating means you can, take like 2 turns to build up damage with Inteleon, right? Because Scoop Up Net no longer exists, they can't net the Comfeys and, heal them. They're stuck in play, meaning that they are constantly going to have damage on them as long as they're not playing Switch Card, which is one card you do have to consider when playing against Lost Boxes. They can use Switch Card tactically to heal the Comfeys. But when they're not doing that, you're kind of just chilling. And again, Medicham's Yoga Loop is really deadly. You can put, 4 damage counters on a Comfey through 2 Inteleons. You can Alakazam some of the damage that you used from, Alakazam 1 damage off of a Comfey. The other Comfey that you hit with Inteleon's ability, and then you Medicham Yoga Loop the Comfey. You can do this to KO a Manaphy with Yoga Loop, which means then you can Rapid Flow on that extra turn that Yoga Loop gives you. So just some really crazy plays can be made with this deck. Some of the lists here, I guess we can take a look at what they play. For the most part, they're very straightforward. Like, most of the Inteleon Urshifu lists are kind of the same. They play 3-3 Inteleon, 2-2 Urshifu. The Urshifu is also really good against Miraidon and, again, Raikou V. Lost Box, especially the one that won in the massive 3,000-player tournament, played a Raikou V Sky Seal Stone, meaning that your Inteleon VMAX should not be attacking. You should instead just be using Rapid Strike Urshifu and just using Gale Thrust to take knockouts. So you can't get KO'd by Raikou as easily. You force him to have, like, Boss Sky Seal Stone, which is highly unlikely. and then you kind of set up your wacky Yoga Loop plays. But Urshifu also fixes the Miraidon matchup because Inteleon is weak to Lightning. If you're paired against Miraidon EX, right, your Teleons are just going to get completely destroyed and washed. But when you have an Urshifu, I mean, one Urshifu should take out at least 2 Miraidon, which means as long as you have 2 Urshifus in play, you just knock out, 3 Miraidons, you win the game. And that's pretty good. Drapion is kind of needed. Actually, some of the Inteleon lists play 2 Drapion, literally just to beat Mew, because Inteleon will struggle against Mew VMAX, because you can't use Urshifu against Mew, much like how you can't use Inteleon against Miraidon. But the problem with that is Inteleon VMAX is not very good against Mew. It doesn't do a lot of damage, and you kind of need that leverage. So Drapion is basically, you just play 2 Drapion, or just 1 Drapion's fine, but some lists just play 2, just like you don't have to worry about it. If, they're playing the path build of Mew, you have Tower Octillery, so if they try to path you out of Drapion, you could just, Octillery for Tower of Water, which is pretty sick. But yeah, none of these lists are playing Empoleon. I think the reason why there's no Empoleon, you don't need it. The Lost Box matchup is just so good, you don't even need Empoleon, which kind of makes sense. I guess for some of the supporters are kind of the toss-up within the Inteleon deck. I think you want to play, at the very least, you want to play 4 Research or 3 Research, because you want as much draw as you can. But some lists also opt to play other cards too. Some lists play Melanie to utilize. Since you're playing Water Energy, you might as well play Melanie. It's pretty good with Rapid Strike Urshifu, so you can build up an Urshifu Rapid Flow in 1 turn. Pretty good on your Yoga Loop turn, too, especially if you have to attach the Medicham on that turn to Yoga Loop. Obviously, you want to play at least 2 Karinas in the deck so you're able to kind of draw cards. You can search with Octillery, so if you get Judged or Roxanne into a bad hand, you can at least Octillery for Karina, which is kind of cool. Some lists play Irida, some lists play Clara, too. Some lists also play the Cheryl to heal against Lost Box, just to give you an easier time against Lost Box. And you can use Cheryl with Inteleon. It's already a strategy that people have done before. You do it again. So these lists kind of all revolve around the same general strategy. As you can see, this list here, yeah, 2 Drapion V. Energy Retrieval is really good. Some lists will play Superior, I guess. I don't think you need Superior. I think normal Energy Retrieval is just the way to go, in my opinion, when playing these. But I like this list here. I also like the list with the Judge, and I think Judge, actually, you should still play. Lost Box can still beat the Inteleon deck. If you aren't able to get, you have a bit of a slower start, or say your opponent has, the ability to try to Raikou you still want to, disrupt their hand, in my opinion, to be, when you're kind of farming Lost Box's basic Pokemon, you still want to play a Judge in your deck, so you're able to, disrupt your hand. So, they build up a huge hand, you can still Judge them. So I think you still want to play Judge in the Inteleon deck. But yeah, just a lot of Rapid Strike Inteleon decks. This list here playing the Starmie V. I do like that. The Starmie V could be kind of cute against Arceus decks, which, I mean, you probably already have a better matchup against with Urshifu, because most of them won't play Dunsparce, but Starmie just helps a little bit more, which is kind of cool. This list plays Carnivine. I'm not too sure on that. I think it has an attack that prevents your opponent from retreating, which could be good against Lost Box. Now, this build is not Inteleon. This build actually optimizes Empoleon. Now, while Inteleon VMAX is really good against Lost Box, so is Empoleon V, it turns out. Empoleon V is also good against Lost Box, because when Empoleon's in the active spot, your opponent can't do Flower Select or Spit Innocently because their abilities are shut off. Meaning that if you just put 2 Empoleon in play, basically they can't escape rope out of the Empoleon, so you're just constantly having Empoleon Vs in play doing a lot of work. And I really like the idea of playing Empoleon V in the deck. I think it's actually a really smart idea to play Empoleon V, because again, being able to shut off Comfey is really good. This build uses Empoleon with Rapid Strike Urshifu, so just kind of keeping it very straightforward. No Inteleon VMAX in the deck. Empoleon can do a decent bit of damage too. You can move the energy to Urshifu. I think Empoleon, you can also use, as you can see, this scroll here. It does 30 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon. So if your opponent plays Manaphy down, you can still go scroll on Empoleon and spread, because Manaphy is shut off by Empoleon. That's just a really cool little feature. But yeah, the Empoleon is a really cool addition in the Rapid Strike deck here. But yeah, this build just uses Empoleon over the Inteleon, kind of just more trying to lock them out of the game as opposed to trying to, destroy their bench with Inteleon. I think both approaches are pretty solid. The problem with Empoleon, it's very weak, it's very squishy, so it's not as good in other matchups. With Inteleon, you can still use it in other matchups and be fine with it. Whereas, if you're playing against, Lost Box, you're pretty fine, but when you're playing against something that's a little bit more threatening, the Empoleon V becomes a lot worse, which is a little scary. Yeah, but yeah, more Inteleon lists. Again, a lot of the lists are very straightforward. Some lists do play the Hawlucha, by the way. The Hawlucha is also something you could play in the deck to add even more damage on the board, so you probably want to, keep that in mind too. Here's a cool Rapid Strike list. This one uses a new fire Pokemon that moves a fire energy from your bench to your active. So I guess it's like trying to use Rapid Flow every turn through Magma Basin and this card's ability. It's a cool idea. It's a cool concept. I maybe would want to see 2 Empoleon in the deck for the Lost Box matchup, but that's a cool concept right there. I like creativity, and players in Japan, they have some pretty good ideas brewing in their heads. I like that. And this one uses Vaporeon VMAX. I think there's a couple of these that I saw while scrolling through these lists. And, Vaporeon VMAX was actually a really good card back in the day, like a long time ago. We're talking like at the beginning of the Sword and Shield on format is when Vaporeon Urshifu was like a legit top deck. Now it's fallen off pretty quickly, but it's trying to be revived in the rotation. So this deck is kind of cool. Vaporeon V does have a hit and run attack, which lets you go into Klefki. That's probably why the deck plays 4 Klefki. But Vaporeon VMAX also can do 200 damage if your opponent's active as a damage counter on it. So at minimum, you're doing 210 damage. And combine that with Rapid Flow, combine that with the Alakazam, you can do some pretty cool like maneuvers with the damage spread. You also have the 3 elemental badge, so you can attack for 1 energy with Vaporeon. If I were to play this, I would probably like to maybe see Cheryl's in the deck. I think Cheryl would go a long way in this Vaporeon deck because you can use Cheryl to heal the Vaporeon with an elemental badge on, and then you can attack Rapid Energy from your hand and attack for 1 energy. So I think the Vaporeon deck should still play a Cheryl, in my opinion. This list doesn't play Cheryl, but I think you probably should play a Cheryl in the deck, or at least 2 or 3 Cheryl, because I think it'd be a really cool idea to use Cheryl with Vaporeon VMAX. But I do like this idea of Vaporeon V's hit and run attack and a Klefki. The Urshifu Vaporeon was already like an established deck, and with the format slowing down, this idea could come back. Which is kind of cool. So definitely exciting to see that. I really like Vaporeon VMAX. It's a really, really cool card. Just sucks that it's like not as good right now. Got another Inteleon deck here. I think there might be an Inteleon deck that played a Vaporeon. I can't remember though. But yeah, as you can see, some lists are playing the Starmie V, which I do like the idea of Starmie V in the Inteleon deck. Definitely a really cool idea as a big attack option. Because again, the Inteleon deck's damage output is kind of awkward overall. Like Urshifu does 150 and Inteleon does 140. And you can kind of increase the damage with Alakazam and Inteleon's own ability, but it's not still like you're not doing that much damage. So I did like the idea of like a Starmie, like big, heavy hitter in the deck. Another list here playing a 1/1-bit barrel for draw. We got a lot more Inteleon. And we got some Arceus Rapid Strike lists. Now, this is like more of a Sylveon deck. And I really like the idea of Sylveon in the post-rotation format. Like a Sylveon Arceus deck seems pretty good because you can play Sylveon VMAX in the deck. You can play Sylveon VMAX in the deck to counter other Urshifus and other Psychic Weak Pokemon. You have the Arceus V-Star, which is just obviously a really good card. And then you have Empoleons. You have Rapid Strike Urshifu to hit for weakness against Lightning. You have the Moltres in the deck too, which helps you hit for weakness against Mew and Gardevoir. So I do like the idea of an Arceus Sylveon deck. It's another Rapid Strike deck that could pop up, Arceus Sylveon. I do really like that idea. I really hope that we could see something like that become a thing in the future. But even Arceus Urshifu could still be good. I mean, that was kind of a deck like back in the day and during the Brilliant Stars era. Like Arceus Urshifu was a thing that people played. This list here is kind of cool using Plusle and Minun. I think Minun does like 110 damage if like Plusle attacked last turn, which is kind of cool. I guess it's decent into like Lugia. Maybe I'm interested about that. I guess because Inteleon like easily takes out the Dunsparce, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, we got a lot of Inteleon decks. As you can see, Inteleon, just a lot of people really like it because, hey, Lost Box is really good post-rotation. Arguably, Lost Box, or the Lost Zone engine in general, is like the best deck, whether it's Giratina or not. So it's like, hey, let's just play Inteleon. As you can see, there's just a lot of Inteleon here being played because it just has a pretty good matchup versus Lost Box, which is kind of interesting. This one here is cool. Got another Lost Zone Urshifu deck using the Galarian Moltres in the deck. Again, to help against Gardevoir and Mew a little bit. Very interesting list playing Gapejaw Bog in the deck. That's interesting. I'm not like super sold on Lost Box Urshifu. It's a cool idea though. Again, Sableye is cool against like Manaphy, so you can like activate Rapid Flow, I guess. That's kind of the idea. And just more Inteleon decks. Again, this one, yeah, see, 2 Drapion. This one is an Urshifu Zeraora deck, so actually even got top 4. Urshifu Zeraora, again, Zeraora can do a ton of damage to your opponent's bench, so you're basically just trying to, like, take out Manaphy at some point and then just use Zeraora's Crossfist. Also, being a lightning Pokemon does mean you can hit Lugia for weakness. I wonder if there would be room to put a Zeraora VMAX in the deck. You already play 5 lightning. Could be a cool idea. But yeah, Zeraora, another big Rapid Strike Pokemon. Like we saw Sylveon, Urshifu, Vaporeon, now there's Zeraora. There's a lot of Rapid Strike Pokemon to choose from, and you can see a lot of the lists in Japan are really trying to take advantage of that. Then we got Blaziken, Zeraora, Urshifu here with Empoleon. This is a true Rapid Strike box deck right here. And as you can see, it does play that Zeraora VMAX. This one did actually get top 8 in a tournament too. Blaziken VMAX can accelerate energy. Being a fire type is okay. I don't think there's that many Fire Weak Pokemon in the meta that are too relevant, but unless is Oinkalone weak to fire? Can't remember on that. But you have Urshifu again. You have Zeraora. Blaziken Urshifu was a cool idea with the Zeraora Blaziken Urshifu deck. It's a really cool idea. It is kind of a countery box type deck, right? You got the Empoleon to the deck, try to be Lost Box that way. Someone's going to kind of trying to just do the Empoleon strategy versus the Lost Zone decks. And even plays a Grant in the deck to try to do more damage with Urshifu. That's a cool idea. Grant's only on the active, I think. But yeah, pretty cool right there. The Blaziken deck. And again, right, you saw Vaporeon, Zeraora. Now we're looking at Blaziken, another really good Rapid Strike card you could play. More Inteleon. Again, this one actually playing 2 Empoleon, so really just trying to bully Lost Box with the Empoleon and the Inteleon in one deck. That's kind of crazy. We got another Urshifu Empoleon deck. Very just straightforward idea, just using Empoleon with Urshifu. Again, this list does play Earth and Steel Stone, actually, interestingly enough, over playing that scroll. And look, there's a scroll in the deck, so again, another anti-Lost Zone deck using the Empoleon to try to beat Lost Zone over Inteleon. We got another Vaporeon VMAX deck here, getting top 4, which is kind of cool. Again, I like Vaporeon. I would love to see Vaporeon become like good again, because it was a really cool card. This build, again, not playing Cheryl. It's really interesting these lists aren't playing Cheryl, which I still feel like these decks should play Cheryl. Like, all your attackers, theoretically, Urshifu and Vaporeon, can attack for 1 energy, in theory. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't play the Cheryl, but whatever. These lists don't play Cheryl for whatever reason, but I do like it. Urshifu, Vaporeon is a really cool idea, and Vaporeon V does kind of give you that anti-Lost Box. So you can, again, hit and run with Vaporeon, do 90 with Vaporeon, go into the Klefki, right, over like Empoleon, because Klefki shuts off Comfy too. So that's another really cool idea that's being expanded upon. Really like that idea right there. Really, really cool. It's really cool how many Rapid Strike Pokemon there are. We got another Sylveon box deck. This one actually isn't playing Arceus. It's actually just more or less playing a bit more of a different draw engine using Kricketune with Altaria. Kricketune does provide a grass Pokemon, and then Altaria is like a dragon Pokemon. You even got Skewit in the deck. But yeah, another Sylveon, Urshifu, Moltres deck. Very straightforward deck. I'm a huge fan of Sylveon. I love Sylveon. I used to play a lot of Sylveon back in the day when it was like actually a good deck. So it is cool to see people trying to revive Sylveon, because you can build it like a counter box deck. If Urshifu becomes relevant again, there's a reason to rock Sylveon again. This one's cool. We got an Urshifu Palkia deck. I have done a video on this deck before. I've done a video on Urshifu Palkia, and I actually really liked the deck idea. It's a really cool idea that has some potential, because there's not, like, the synergy between Urshifu and Palkia isn't, like, there isn't a lot of synergy in practice, but the deck kind of plays pretty well, because you get Urshifu to counter the Miraidon, and then you kind of just have Palkia doing Palkia things, you know. You have, like, 2, like, mini rapid flow ideas. You have, the the Greninja's attack, I forget what it's called, and then you have Urshifu's G-Max Rapid Flow doing 90 and then 120 on the Urshifu, so cool idea. Palkia Urshifu's cool. This one got top 8 in a 48-player tournament. I think we did look at this list a while back. We got another Urshifu Empoleon deck. This one using both Starmie and Zeraora, so kind of trying to expand upon the attackers. Interestingly, there's no Skyseal Stone. Since you're playing a lot more basic V Pokemon, this list actually doesn't play a Skyseal Stone in it. I don't see one. I just see 4 Steel Stones. I see 2 4 Steel Stones. So very interesting that this Rapid Strike list is not playing the Skyseal Stone. We got another Arceus Urshifu deck. See, as you can see, Arceus Urshifu as a counter box deck. This is another big counter box deck. Playing a lot of one-of counters, playing Zapdos and Moltres to hit for weakness. You have the Urshifu. You got the Hoopa V in the deck, being both a dark and... Actually, what's hilarious about this list is it actually plays 3 of the best Mew counters. It's actually kind of funny. There's Moltres V to counter Mew, there's Hoopa V to counter Mew, and there's Drapion to counter Mew. So, I mean, this deck probably shouldn't lose to Mew. That's actually kind of funny. And then the one of them, Pikachu, even playing 2 copies of Cramorant in the deck alongside full core. This is a big brain deck if I've ever seen one. Holy moly, that's a big brain deck. A lot going on. Holy crud. Another Empoleon. Got Urshifu, Zeraora with Empoleon again. Another Inteleon deck. This one, or another Urshifu Empoleon deck with a Klefki Another Sylveon deck, sorry, with Blaziken, Urshifu, and Zeraora this time. Not playing Arceus, no Moltres in the deck. Just straightforward on the Sylveon, just trying to hit hard, playing that Ribbon Badge. Super effective Glasses is a cool idea, too, to do more damage. And we got another Urshifu Inteleon. We got Urshifu again, but this also has a Galarian Zapdos V in the deck. Actually opting to not play any, no Zeraoras or anything like that. We got another Arceus Urshifu. Much like the other deck, it's playing one of all the good Dark V Pokemon you can play to beat Mew. That's funny. Drapion, Hoopa, Moltres. That's genuinely funny. I know it's also good against Gardevoir too, but it's like when you're playing against Mew and you have 3 different Dark attackers. It's just funny to me that they're playing like 3 different Dark Pokemon. They're actually really good. Like Drapion's good against Mew, Moltres good against Mew, Hoopa's good against Mew. I just think that's like absolutely hilarious. Another Arc Urshifu deck, again almost playing the Drapion this time too. And yeah, we got another Sylveon deck here. Sylveon, Arceus, Urshifu with the 1/1 Flying Pikachu. I do like that because I feel like the Sylveon deck would have to figure out how it would effectively beat Lost Box. And I guess Pikachu is like that answer. Right? How many judge? Just 1 judge. No Roxanne. Interesting. Another Inteleon deck. Actually opting to play Eternatus, Radiant Eternatus, over playing the Alakazam, which is interesting. A lot of interesting techs, actually, like the lady in the deck to get energy. Another Arc Urshifu deck with, again, the 3 Dark V Pokemon. The 3 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. That's funny. More Inteleons. We got another Arc Sylveon Urshifu Moltres deck here. Pretty cool stuff. Another Arc Urshifu deck, again, with the 3 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which I'll probably just call them that from now on, because it's like just kind of funny, just playing 3 different Dark Pokemon. More Inteleon, more of that Urshifu Empoleon deck. Arceus Urshifu, very straightforward Arceus deck here. More of a bit, kind of a bit more of like a tankier build, using 2 Cheryls to heal, which is kind of cool. Interesting. Yeah, we got another Blaziken Urshifu deck. Not playing Zeraora, actually playing Radiant Eternatus and Basculin and Bibarel and Octillery in the deck, so a little bit more going on in here. Another Sylveon deck here with Urshifu. We got another Arc Urshifu deck. I like the idea of Espeon in the deck to help against Sableye. Espeon's really good against Sableye and Giratina. Because with Arceus, you can put energy on a bunch of Pokemon on your bench, which means those Pokemon can't be like lost-minded, which is kind of cool. Yeah, more Inteleon. As you can see, Inteleon is just like insanely good in Urshifu. Or in the meta. Just kind of giving the Rapid Strike deck a new home. Another Lost Zone Urshi deck. We got another Sylveon deck here using the Moltres Urshifu Arceus. We got another Arceus Urshifu Moltres deck. I like it. Yeah, more of that. We got the Arc Zapdos Drapion. Or just actually just a quad Urshifu deck. I thought there was an Arceus. I misread that. Yeah, it's like a turbo Urshifu deck in a way. It's got 4 for Urshifu. Alongside 3 Gutsy Pickaxe, 3 Trekking Shoe. That's fascinating. Really going all in on the Urshifus there. Dang, okay. I think, wouldn't this get bodied by Mew, though? I mean, I guess you have Drapion. I guess you can, like... How would this be Mew? If you played your Drapion, maybe it could. I don't know, it's interesting. Another Arc Ursh deck. We got Urshifu Sylveon with the 1/1 Flying Pikachu again. Another Lost Zone Urshifu deck. This one actually playing a couple of extra dark, because again, we have the Hoopa V and the Drapion V in the deck. And then we got Urshifu, Zeraora, again. Well, yeah, I would call it that. You got like the 3 Vs. This build doesn't play a Sky Seal Stone in it, though. Actually playing Earth and Seal Stone in the deck. That's interesting. We got another Urshifu Empoleon and more Arceus. But that seems to be it for that. And then I guess there's one more Rapid Strike deck we can take a look at here that I wanted to include. And that is, of course, Lugia Rapid Strike. I think Lugia Rapid Strike is another way to play Rapid Strike that could be a thing. Lugia Rapid Strike can, of course, utilize the Empoleon in the deck, since you can, attack with it pretty easily. You can, of course, play the Urshifu in the deck, which will help against Miraidon, which Lugia is weak to Lightning, so Lugia Urshifu seems like a pretty cool combo when you can use that Urshifu to counter the Miraidon, right? And then you got the Zeraora V, which could be a really cool attacker, too. I like that. Lugia Rapid Strike seems cool. I like how it has a little bit of countermeasures to it, right? It's not just like a Lugia deck with big attackers. The Pokemon in the deck actually help counter help the counter stuff, right? The Empoleon for the Lost Box, the Urshifu for the Miraidon. It's kind of cool. So I do like the idea of Lugia with Rapid Strike. That could also potentially be a Rapid Strike deck we see. It's the only list that I was able to find here I think there was another couple more, but I didn't want to scroll through all the list to find it. But this was like the one that I found, and I liked it. I liked it. It was pretty clean with what it is. Actually, interesting playing the 2 Zinnia to try to get Archeops in the discard pile. But yeah, there you go. That is Rapid Strike in the post-rotation format. Rapid Strike is looking to be pretty good again with Inteleon VMAX and Urshifu being pretty good cards in the format. Hitting for weakness and being really good against Lost Box is certainly good. But we saw a lot of different ways to play Rapid Strike. Of course, we did see the Sylveon, the Vaporeon, the Blaziken, the Zeraora. Lots of options for building Rapid Strike in the format. It seems to be pretty good against a lot of big meta decks. You know, hitting Arceus for weakness, Brian for weakness, all the Inteleon Lost Box stuff. Really cool stuff. So it'll be cool to see Rapid Strike kind of be back on the map, because it's been a while since Rapid Strike has been good. It's fallen off for quite some time now. Really, since Astral Radiance came out, Rapid Strike really started to fall off. But now Rapid Strike could be coming back in the meta in a pretty big way with rotation, and I'm here for it, baby, and I can't wait. But yeah, if y'all enjoyed today's video here, looking at all of the Rapid Strike list here, make sure to leave a like in the video. Are you excited for Rapid Strike to come back in the format? Let me know down in the comments below. Maybe we'll look at Single Strike next. Yeah, but tell me what kind of archetype you want me to look at next for this video series, where I look at kind of an archetype in Japan and look at all the different lists the Japan players have been building and playing with and trying out and theory crafting with in their format. And that'll be for me. Again, if you haven't subbed to the second channel here yet, make sure to subscribe, leave a like in the video if you enjoyed, and all that good stuff. And I'll catch y'all later. Bye-bye.